What have we here? What? Oh my gosh, what? This gets me strangely nostalgic. Doom was like, I remember tinkering around with like modding Doom way back in the day. Just a random Eric face on the wall. I haven't played Doom in a while. That would be fun to go back and play that again. I was just reading about like, I think I was reading an article about like bad final bosses, and Doom 2 came up. Apparently like the final boss of Doom 2 is kind of bad or annoying. It's just like a big wall. It has like a demon head on it or something, but people complain just because it's like weird. Cool. So today is a, let's see. Oh, okay, Sock's coming in a few minutes, cool. Yeah, so the one thing on the schedule today is we're gonna try out some EON in a bit, I believe. That's up to Sock, so we'll check with him when he gets here. On my end, it's mostly just been just kind of heads down server coding, very boring stuff. Well, exciting in a nerdy way, but yeah, nothing like that I can show. Just continuing to work on like workspaces and cloud builds and things like that. So stuff that will show up like in workspaces and asset packages and stuff like that. So if any of you have tried out this stuff, please let me know if there's any problems with it, but it should be hopefully working. They're getting closer. Good old asset packages. The big thing I'm working on right now is this system just called like Cloud Build, which is basically just like a generic system where I can run like builds on like cloud servers. So doing things like taking a JPEG file and converting that to like a ASTC texture or particular things like that. So which is cool because when that's working, that means we'll be able to like run tons of builds like really fast. So then everyone should be able to build mods through the cloud-based stuff. And then it'll just like build the right texture formats for the people who are downloading it and things like that. So should be fun. Oh, hi. Coffee Advocate ping? What is Coffee Advocate? Is this like a bot or something? The server has so much stuff I don't even know like about. I love the auto zoom on my camera. If I take a sip of coffee, it like slowly zooms in on my face. It's like a very dramatic movie moment. I'm gonna do it again. Oh, it didn't do it this time, but it did last time. Super dramatic, yes. Mr. Sock, hello. Burp. So yeah, I'm trying to think what else is new. The other big thing I've been working on is my work I've been procrastinating on converting the old V1 master server to Python 3. So I've made some progress on that. It's not the most exciting work, but it needs to be done. Google originally said they were going to shut off access to the Python 2 stuff at the end of January, but it looks like they've delayed that, and they also have like some way to turn off to turn it back on basically. So I feel like that hasn't been like a huge incentive since I can procrastinate some more. Things are good. How are you, Sock? I was just saying it's been mostly a server, back-end coding week. doing some work on exciting things like cloud builds and stuff like that, which hopefully I'll be able to show before too long, but there's nothing showable just yet. I can show some database entries. That's very exciting. Actually, I can show you like how I test the stuff. It's kind of interesting. So testing cloud builds. So I have my little like dev master server up and running here, and then I come into here, and I have this goofy little secret menu of just random stuff I can do. So one of those is test cloud build BA master. So if I run this thing should spit out some random. Oh wait, no, I'm running that on prod server. Okay, now test cloud build. Well, let's go ahead and clear it. Test cloud build BA master. Go. Oh look, server is doing things. Execing test recipe. Whee. Okay, it just built something. I forgot what I have it set up to build, but that's kind of what it looks like to be, you know, working on server code. Is like I tweak a Python file, and then I come in here and run this thing, and then I do it over again. So until it like builds assets. So getting there. Hide that behind myself there. What is no medianism? Hello, Micky Rug. So yeah, that's pretty much my full update. So anyone have any topics, thoughts, questions? Otherwise, maybe I'll turn it over to Micky and Sock, and we can jump into EON. Pass all your exams, sweet. Congratulations on that. Roadmap is overrated when it's 2.1 coming out. Oh my gosh. There's a ton of stuff I'd love to like think about, or you know, start plotting on the roadmap for like 2.1, or like what would be on my wish list for after 2, but that just feels irresponsible to like plan that far out. At that point it just starts to feel like, you know, like fantasizing as opposed to planning, you know. It's like that's too far out. Whoa. That's cool. Your username here like threw me off, like the ... I thought it was like the person above it like saying something and then like ... and then saying more. But no, you're like a whole separate person. I feel like as far as advice, I wouldn't have good advice on like trying to compete with a big game, or like, you know, big game projects, things like that. Like I've only ever done like indie game stuff. I was working with friends, and so I was part of like a small team then, but I've never worked at like a big game studio or anything like that. I've worked at a big animation studio, but not game studios. So I feel like I don't know. I mean, I guess you're probably talking about more like an indie project, but I kind of feel like I'm not part of like the games industry, because it kind of seems like those big game studios, it's like a whole different beast. At least to me, it seems that way. Do you like eggs? I love eggs. Scrambled and over easy and omelets, and we've been doing breakfast quesadillas lately. That's probably my favorite type of eggs right now. Here's more. Yeah, I apologize for if toxic communities out there. If you know, I don't think it's limited to just one. I mentioned before that one of my plans for moving forward with like the squad system, which is kind of like the direction the game is going in will be that by default you'll be communicating with friends or whoever's in your squad that you choose, but just random chat with random people will be off by default. It'll just be like emotes, which I think is a pretty common thing in certain games, right? So I mean, chat would be just like purely opt-in. I could do an age limit or something, but I have no way to enforce that right now. Like I'm somewhat limited by being, the indie dev type, so I can't do a whole lot that would require, like moderation or, I mean, I guess we could do like, we've talked about that, just community moderators or something, like enforcing a no kids in certain chats rule or something like that. That goes back to I feel like that's just a big topic in general, is like things like voice chat, or should kids be allowed to like chat, or just like the social setup for the game. Oh, did TF2 have chat only for pro players? Oh, BS pro players. Oh, I thought you meant like if you're good enough, like you get high enough in the league, and then suddenly you can chat, which is almost like a interesting, interesting thought. It will be really interesting to get to that point with like matchmaking and squads and things like that, where just to see. I'm sure there's going to be a whole host of issues that come out of that, like smurfing and things like that. If it's stuff like matchmaking is based on how much you've played, I'm sure people are gonna reset their accounts or make a new account just to mess with newbies and things like that. I was saying, I don't know, was it like Valve or someone was doing a whole bunch of like automated like bans recently for like things like smurfing and stuff like that. So must be a problem for the, if it's a problem for the big players, it must be a problem in general. Not being able to speak in chat because of a skill issue. Yeah, that doesn't seem like that would make a whole lot of sense, especially if, like, I feel like one of the useful features of chat is almost like to just meet up with friends and kind of guide them through starting the game and things like that. And so like preventing them from chatting until they've, reached a certain point doesn't seem like that would be very beneficial. Did you make Bomb Squad alone? Yeah. It's over a long, long period of time, but yeah. I had my roommate at the time helped me with some early like sounds. Raphael Suter, he's a animator at Pixar at the moment, but yeah, he helped me with some of the early sounds and actually did some animation for the game before it was procedural. So, and then I ripped that all out and made him very sad. I didn't make him very sad, but he teases me about it still. But yeah, Bomb Squad is a kind of a solo project that's just been going on for a long, long time. Though I can't fully call it solo at this point. There's still, oh no, this is going to remind people that there's PRs I need to pull in. But there's lots of people who have contributed little things, or it's becoming more and more of a thing. People contributing bug fixes and little bits of functionality and stuff like that on GitHub. So I can't claim all the credit. So people are starting to do more of that, and that's definitely the direction I want to push the game, is leaning in more to exposing user mods and things like that and making that easier for people to share and stuff. So at that point, I shouldn't be saying like, oh, I wrote everything. I was like, no, I wrote like the framework, and a bunch of talented people filled in the blanks. Check PR. We need like a check PRs Siegel or something like that. Just like a slight variation of Roadmap Siegel, but it's just like directed at me. So just like whenever I show up here, just show me the check PRs Siegel. No, I don't have a game studio. I'm just publishing the game under my own name at the moment, and I'm just doing it very much like working from my apartment or coffee shops or whatever. So it's very much low. Like I don't want to say unofficial, but I don't have like an office or anything like that. I have we got a 2-bedroom apartment, so this second bedroom is technically the office. So it's sort of like having an office, but it's really a bedroom. There, check PRs. See, he just needs a Siegel. Answer before what? What happened to KidFriendly Mode? What did happen to kid-friendly mode? So I think I took that out for technical reasons. I was realizing that it was kind of breaking server play. It was something, yeah, it was something like if kid-friendly mode was enabled on like the local client but not on the server, like things would simulate differently because the characters could break apart on the server but not on the client. So it would be doing weird things where like a character would blow up on the server and then on the client, like your local simulation, he'd be like snapping back together again. So it was like glitching out in weird ways. So I'm not against the idea of having a kid-friendly mode if people want it, but that would have to be like it would have to be implemented in a smarter way. Like it would have to be basically a server setting. And so my lazy self just took it out instead of doing that. Suggest you started building a game studio. I've thought about that. We'll see if it gets to that point. That goes into like a big topic of like career goals and things like that. And for me, it's like there's a lot of positive aspects about keeping things small. Like I know I'm spread very thin, and sometimes development and progress is very slow. But I absolutely love just kind of being able to do everything and not have to schedule meetings and worry about payrolls and things like that. It's like if I'm making enough money to pay rent and buy groceries, like then I'm good. So it kind of keeps things simple in a way, and creative freedom and all that is great. So I feel like there's definite upsides about not trying to scale. Though it would be interesting too, like hiring people. I do miss like office culture and things like that. Like when I was working with my friends on like Zombie Gunship for a few years, like it was fun to have folks in the office. They rented a little place in like downtown in San Francisco, and so everyone would just we'd hang out in the office after work and watch movies and stuff like that. So it was kind of like I do miss the kind of fun team atmosphere there a little bit. But there's a lot of, like I said, there's a lot of upsides to working alone, like the creative freedom and just flexibility and things like that. It's hard to beat that. This game's safe. It's kind of interesting because like going back to the Gore or parent-friendly mode or kid-friendly mode, whatever it was called. Yeah, someone actually asked me about that. Years ago, that's why I put it in. They're just like, hey, the game's a little violent. Like, I'd love to play with my kids, but could you make it a little less violent or something? So I just added like a kid-friendly mode checkbox. But it's interesting, I know, technically it's little characters blown apart into pieces and stuff like that, but it's like there's no gore and blood, so it's like and everything is little chunks of clay, so it's like my hope is that it feels like innocent violence. It's if that's a thing. But when you think of like Super Mario squishing Goombas and things like that, or Mario squishing Goombas, like you don't think of that as gory, even though like they're literally squishing those characters, like these poor little mushroom creatures. They're just walking around and getting like flattened. Like if that happened to a person in like a realistic way, like that would be horrific. But we don't talk about those poor mushrooms. But that doesn't seem like violent. That seems more just like goofy. So I don't know. I'm trying to toe the line and have it be more kind of goofy violence and less like disturbing violence. I don't know. I hope it comes across that way. But yeah, like Legos or something like that. I do want to like revisit the explosions and make them look better because they've been kind of like stale for a long time. Oh, cool! I'm automatically making little little thumbs up bubbles here. What was I saying? Oh yeah. I'd love to like make the explosions look more cool, and I do like I would love to have like very visceral kind of real looking explosions just because that's fun. But in terms of like what they do to the characters, I feel like just blowing into little clay pieces that's not terrible. So, okay, cool. Though it would be fun, and I've talked about that with like Micky Rug and, well, some of the mods that they've done, just like adding blood or gore or whatever, just like it can be fun, like as a contrast, to do it for like one mode or something like that, just to like accentuate that, just like ridiculous, slow motion gore blood mode or something like that. I was always like joking about the idea with myself of making like like a Zack Snyder mode. You know, if you're familiar with his movies, they're always like excessive, like abs and slow motion and black and white and gore and maybe not gore, but you know, just something where like the game was in slow motion until you hit something, then or the game was regular until you hit something, then it would like go in like slow motion and you see like blood. So you know, just something kind of ridiculous, over the top for fun. Check me. PR Seagull, thank you. Okay, that will help. I definitely need to. Yeah, there needs to be like a roadmap seagull Easter egg or something in the game now. Like seagulls and submarines. I don't know where this came from, but like weird little in things we have now. That can be fun too, when toning down stuff in creative ways. Did you guys have this? I know in the U.S., you know, there's always these jokes of like R-rated movies that got shown on TV back in like the '90s, and just the super creative way that they, you know, censored the harsh language. It was like, you know, like in Die Hard, like yippee ki mother ucker, you know, but then they like the yippee ki. Man, I forgot what they changed it to for the broadcast versions, but it was hilarious. That would be the best job ever, like being the person that gets to make up those. Or The Big Lebowski. If anyone's seen The Big Lebowski, John Goodman's character, he like smashing this car and yelling at this little kid. Long story, but so I'm like, this is what happens, Larry. You see what happens? You see what happens when you F a stranger in the A. And so that's in the real version, but in the broadcast version, it's like, you see what happens when you find a stranger in the Alps? So I love it. Gotta watch out when you find a stranger in the Alps. Oh yeah, Mrs. Falcon. That's right, yippee-ki-yay, Mr. Falcon. There's some other like all-time greats too. I can't think of any at the moment. Oh yeah, creative censorship. That's good too. When you see like innocent stuff and they've like blurred out, you know, just a random part of it, it just takes it from innocent to like totally different. Oh yeah, Austin Powers, they do that on purpose. I haven't watched Austin Powers in a while. Remember that was so huge way back in the day, back when I was in high school. That was like Austin Powers was the thing. Talented. So yeah, jumping back to that topic for a second. Yeah, collaborating with talented people. For one, I do miss that a little bit. You know, like when I was, you know, back at Pixar, there was so many like creative, smart people, and it was super awesome to get to work with them all. So I missed that, and also working with my friends. They were, you know, very very creative, very awesome people too. So I don't know. I think that's part of the reason that I'm trying to lean into mods and things like that, is just to kind of get to work with other folks making awesome stuff. You know, kind of filling that void in my life. I shouldn't say that, but you know, because yeah, one route could be like starting a studio and hiring people and trying to like recreate that environment. But my thought is another could be just trying to like, you know, encourage an environment where, you know, people like that get together and make fun stuff. So I'm trying that for now. See you, bud. Have a good one. Speaking of modding, any near future plans for Ballistica? I mean, my big focus is still just, I mean, 1.8 is like I shouldn't say laser focus, because I do still have tangents and things, but getting 1.8 out the door is still my primary focus, which the primary thing there is asset packages. So that will be the big, you know, near-term improvement to Ballistica, which, yeah, I mentioned a few weeks ago, is that I came out with like basically a final little roadmap for myself, which I am partially into. I have it here somewhere. Where's it? I think it's here. This workspace. Oh, here it is. 1.8 MVP, which is my tiny little bit of text. So that's like a step-by-step instructions for myself where I need to get to for 1.8, which is a pretty exact list of stuff, which I'm excited about. So it's just a matter of finishing that list. And I'm pretty happy with how it should work out. Like it should make it possible to basically publish asset packages and use those in like classic self-hosted servers and things like that. Originally there was like my plans were kind of wavering back and forth. Originally I was going to make asset packages and asset downloads and all that stuff. It was going to be like closely tied in with the squad system. But the downside of that is the squad system is, I feel like that's going to need some polish and some time in the oven before that's really ready to like take over duties for the rest of the game. So it was kind of a bummer to make people, kind of tie this neat new feature of asset packages into that. So part of me was like, that would have simplified things, but the downside is like people who've invested a ton of time in like making an awesome server, they'd have to almost like start over, or like they wouldn't really be able to take advantage of asset packages. But this new system, or like my final roadmap here, asset packages will be usable by server owners and things like that. And I'm pretty happy because I'm doing it in a way where it's like I'll mostly be able to share that code with squads mode. So I'm not like, the one thing I hate doing is I hate writing something in a completely different way than I'll have to write it later. So if I had to like basically write an asset package system for like classic servers and then like rewrite it completely for squads, that would be a bummer. But in this case, it'll mostly be shared code. So I feel pretty good about it. So I'm feeling good about this this current endeavor I'm on to basically get 1.8 out the door so server owners can use asset packages. So that's the big thing on my radar right now. Aside from, as I mentioned, just like server updates and maintenance and things like that. So I still have a lot of work to do with getting the V1 master server ported over to Python 3. Though I've made progress. I have like a simple version up in GitHub. It doesn't really work much yet, but it's all Python 3 and with the new tooling and all that stuff. So it'll just be a matter of basically like porting things over from the Python 2 one to the Python 3 one and then rerouting that part of the server a thing at a time. So like the first thing will be like the language system, since that's kind of janky anyway and it doesn't matter if it breaks. So when you go to bombsquadgame.com/translate, that's running on the old master server. So for anyone who's come into here and seen like, a little translation section, not secure because I don't have a SSL certificate for bombsquadgame.com, I don't think. But yeah, this is running on my janky old Python 2 master server. So this part I'll port this part first to Python 3, and then the most important parts are actually like the parts that the game talks to directly. Like it's all the same like web server, but there's a few parts that you can talk to with a web browser such as this, but most of it is like the game itself is talking to that server. So in the background, for like, hey, what accounts do I have, or show me what tournaments are running, things like that. But I will be very happy when that's done, because then the V1 master server will hopefully just stay working forever. I know for a few years ago when I first started on the V2 master server, which, if you're unaware, this is the V2 master server. It's not especially fancy looking, but it's under the hood. It is lovely, beautiful, type-safe Python code. I love it so much. It's so much easier for me to like add stuff to like the V2 master server. But when I started that one, my initial thought was like, okay, I'm just gonna like move everything over to the V2 master server, and then I'll just get rid of this ugly old Python 1 V1 master server. But that's proven unrealistic. There's too many things, just like classic tournaments and stuff, that are still running, and I would rather just like focus on getting the squad system going in the V2 server and not on like porting tournaments and porting all this other stuff. So originally I was going to kill the V1 master server, but now it's like change of plans. It's kind of just like update it so I can keep it running indefinitely, which hopefully won't take too much longer. But yeah, it's one of those just like chores that needs to be done. I feel like I've learned over the years like to be a bit more careful, or like a bit more thoughtful when I'm adding features on the server side and things like that, just realizing that I'm going to need to keep this working forever, or like not necessarily forever, but just the thinking about like, oh, what is the maintenance cost going to be on this like 5 years from now? Like, is this going to be just a pain in the butt to keep this thing working? You know, so it's an interesting thing to find myself thinking about more. Um, like when I add a feature now, I feel like I do it slower because it's like, yeah, I want this to kind of keep working for 5 years. So I need to be a bit more careful or like plan it out a bit more. Whereas it used to just be like, oh, let's throw this in and get it working and I'll worry about, keeping it working later. Opinion on changing the game decor after each version update, 1.6, 1.7, 1.8. That sounds awesome. That sounds like something that I should plan for like squads mode though. Like basically, it would be super awesome to have, like a different background, just map that is showing, or, just slight variations on things just to keep things fresh. I'd love to get it to that point where, yeah, like maybe when squads mode rolls around or 2.0 rolls around where like squads mode becomes like the main focus of the game, then maybe we can like plug in, if modders are making cool maps, like maybe we could just like highlight a modders map, things like that, like for a month at a time or for a particular version or something like that. Yeah, exactly. That's like, yeah, like Fortnite does, or it seems kind of like a modern game thing where you're kind of like refreshing stuff periodically. So yeah, I'm trying to think about that. But yeah, at the moment, like that would be, I mean, that would be something, as I mentioned, I would probably want to lean on modders and things like that, unless I, hired people or, scaled up or whatever. But for me, it's almost like coming up with new levels and maps or coming up with new maps and decor and stuff. That would be a significant chunk of time. So it's like, I feel like I wouldn't want to do that every version because that in itself would slow down those versions. But I do like that idea. Like I do want to have, like I mentioned, my overall plan or my hope for squad system is to have something called like leagues, where basically people can kind of script their own little sections of the world, their own little like league that people can join. And so your league can be whatever. It can just be like random matchmaking and casual play, or you can have like a very competitive league with very specific mod rules and whatever. Um, but tying all that together, I do still hope to have like seasons, like some sort of like global season. So just to see like what fun stuff we could attach to that, because it's a very common thing in games now. And then I think it'd be cool to enable people to do things like if you make a new character for your league or something like that, attach him to the next season or something so he becomes available like when the season changes. I don't know, stuff like that where you can kind of lean into the idea of making fun stuff that is kind of changes seasonally. Which brings up other questions in terms of things like people have varied opinions on stuff like battle passes or whatever, or the being able to unlock characters in a battle pass on one season, but then those characters are never available again. Like, is that do people hate that idea? I'm just trying to put feelers out there. Like, do you like that or hate that in other games? Like when you have a character or a skin you've unlocked because you played season 2, and then season 10 rolls around and like you have this cool skin. Like, I could see that being kind of a cool thing because you got there early and you got this cool skin. But I could also see it being like annoying for the people that joined later. Like, should games do that, or should you be able to like go back and unlock battle pass from season 2 even though you started playing in season 10 or something? Deep Rock Galactic. Can you summarize like what they did good about it, what they did correctly about it? Or any other games that people think do like battle pass as well? Oh yeah, I think that would be great. Like editing existing stuff. I a big, I mean a big focus on why I've been working on all this feature set stuff and kind of like organizing things into versions and whatnot is so that I think it would be great to like evolve maps forward and make better versions of them. But like the old stuff, I'd prefer that probably stay on the old versions just to avoid like any chance of breaking stuff. I mean, we could maybe like on a case by case basis change things, but I would love to have, yeah, like a fixed version of, roundabout or something like that, but I'd rather that go through the asset package system so that anyone, you don't get weird situations where like, somebody is joining from 1.4 and they're seeing like the collision map for the old roundabout, and somebody on, 1.8.5 is getting a collision map for like the fixed roundabout, and so suddenly their sims aren't lining up. So, I want to avoid weird technical weirdness like that. But if it's something where technically it's an entirely new map, but it's basically fixed roundabout and everybody gets the same version because of asset packages, like I'm all for that. Like that sounds great. Oh, interesting. I didn't know about that about Fortnite. I knew you could grind V-Bucks. So you buy an asset package once, and then after that you can grind for it? That's kind of interesting. Or did I say asset battle pass? Did I say asset package? I, I don't know. It's free, no paid tiers. Okay. So it kind of seems like one popular thing is just being able to, not have them time limited, being able to go back and do old seasons, or, not having. So do you guys in general feel like exclusive characters that were unlockable in season 2 but never again, like the stuff like that is a bad idea? Okay, rewards for playing is. Yeah, the FOMO stuff. Like, yeah, I feel like I don't want to like lean on FOMO. The one thing for me, like, as again, I should get into like the new economy more, like how that's going to work. Um, but I was thinking, one of my kind of stakes in the ground I want to put down is that like all unlockable stuff should be through currency you get from playing, and not like I don't want it to be where you just throw down $20 to unlock a skin or something like that. But realistically, I do need to make money or something. So it's like I'm trying to think of like slight ways, something like a battle pass where it would incentivize people to like spend a few dollars on something that would instantly get you a character, or something like that, without breaking that former rule of mine where like I don't want stuff that is purely paid for. Aside, I don't know if that makes sense. Um, so yeah, it would almost be like replacing Bomb Squad Pro with something like a battle pass type system or something like that. Um, Maybe like you have to pay for the first one, and then after that you can grind for it or something like that. So I don't know, just thinking about stuff there. But like I said, I'll have like my monetization manifesto at some point here to go over with everyone, or maybe just I'll start rolling out the squad system and you can kind of like see how it works. I'm trying to just come up with something that is, that doesn't feel unfair and sleazy and grindy and whatever. So if you all can help me steer to that goal, that would be great. So the interesting thing with trading is I feel like that, from what I'm aware, that opens up some like legal issues, in terms of like if you can give currency to other people, then suddenly people start to like exchange real currency for stuff in the game, and then it becomes like laws start to kick in terms of people start like laundering money through your game if it gets big enough and stuff like that. Yeah, so it's kind of getting at what I'm thinking as terms of like I would love for all characters to be bought with in-game currency. And part of the reason, as I've mentioned before, is like I'd love to have the game function either as like a fully paid upfront version or a premium version, or like if you're playing the game on a subscription service, like you just get everything. There's no in-app purchases, and I want the economy to work in that mode. So therefore, that means like all the characters have to be unlockable by in-game currency, and I think that's a good like rule to hold myself to. But I still would like a free version for people that want to just play the game and tinker around, and just treating like the free version as kind of like a pay-as-you-go sort of thing. And so that's where the battle pass stuff came in. Is like that could be some incentive to just like get people to pay a little bit, just like buy a battle pass, and then from then on it's just grinding in the game, and no sleazy in-app purchases, because sleazy in-app purchases wouldn't be applicable to the fully paid version. So that's kind of like my rule is like everything has to work for both. So so basically any battle pass functionality would just be always available to the fully paid people. It would just be kind of just like holding a few things back or making people wait for things in a slightly annoying way, stuff like that, which I feel like is not the worst thing in the world for free-to-play stuff. Okay, so yeah. I should look at stats too. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people that actually pay for something in the game have probably been playing for a long time, so it's probably, the most important is probably just making it not too harsh and enjoyable, and so people can keep playing for a long time. Not be a form of progression. Okay. Well, yeah, it definitely shouldn't be. I mean, I feel like that's a line that is clearly should be avoided, is having any pay to win mechanics, any aside from cosmetic fun stuff or whatever. And even those, I feel like it should just maybe slow you down or annoy you a little bit and not like prevent you from getting things. Yeah, I was mentioning that before. It looks like I'm having like some epiphany or just like like some horrific realization. Oh yeah, I guess there are a whole category of games, yeah, where like different heroes, yeah, there's money involved in unlocking them or something. I guess as long as like the free heroes are not at a disadvantage, maybe that's not the end of the world, but it still seems a little like eh. And then so yeah, back to my plan is to basically to have loot boxes, but you can't buy the loot boxes. And if you have the premium version of the game, or if you've unlocked gold or whatever, like the one-time like full unlock, loot boxes always just open instantly. It's more just like that would be one of the like annoyance points for the free-to-play people, is like you have to wait a bit for loot boxes to open, or pay a bit of in-app currency or whatever. But I don't want to do like the loot box thing where it's like, oh, pay $10 for this shiny gold loot box that gives you a 1% chance of getting something cool. It's like, no, it's like the loot boxes are the same for everybody. It's just maybe annoying the free to play people by making them wait a little bit. That's my thought. Because I don't know. I mean, I wonder if people will still like call them loot boxes and have a negative opinion of them, just because of like the wait to open them mechanic. But I kind of feel like the bad part of loot boxes is the getting people to pay over and over again for a slight chance at getting something. To me, that's like very sleazy casino mechanics, And yeah, it does seem. I don't know. It's been tricky. I mean, I'm doing a terrible job at monetizing for Bomb Squad. To be honest, it's like it doesn't matter because like I get enough downloads that the tiny amount I make per player like works out and pays my bills. But the game does not get too many people to pay real money. So I'm trying to like get that a little bit better. Um, like if I did ever want to hire people or something, like I definitely would need to take that up a notch. Not that it's all about the money or anything like that, but okay. So yeah, it's tricky with the gambling mechanics and all that, and I don't know. Anything where it feels like a fuzzy line, where if it feels like, oh, is this sleazy, kind of, but maybe not too sleazy. I don't know. It's just like I'm trying to avoid fuzzy lines. Well, truthfully, I was like, I did think Clash Royale was kind of a good way to do it. Well, aside from, I mean, Clash Royale still has the like you can buy loot boxes things, but like I was kind of planning on maybe copying their just box mechanic in general, where it's like, yeah, you earn boxes by playing games. You know you're you can pay to open them or be slightly annoyed and have to wait for them. But to me, stuff like that, where it's like I feel like you have to annoy players a little bit to get them to pay something, or you have to incentivize them. Um, I don't know if there's a way where I'd just be able to get. I mean, the alternate is like have them pay directly to unlock skins and things like that. But going back to this is like I'd rather have that be all in-game currency, you know, like stuff you earn. So it's like at some point there has to be the incentive. So my thought was just like the incentive to avoid waits and things like that. Or like I said, I definitely want to have like a fallback option, like a gold unlock, where you know if you want to just buy the game and never have any sort of in-app currency or ad or anything like that again, like you'll have everything unlocked forever. Like that'll be an option. Um, yeah, I do want to be upfront, and so yeah, I'd love to be upfront about like, you know, you're paying to like skip a wait or some little annoyance, like be upfront where like, yeah, if you can unlock the full game if you want to avoid this or whatever. Just be upfront where this is like the installment plan for the game. Just pay as you go kind of thing. It's interesting, like the psychology, like breaking down, you know, the fundamental like why people play for games sort of thing. And I feel like I'm not a good. I feel like the best is when you can kind of see, like, look at yourself and see, like, what do I do? Like, what do I want to pay for? Like, what makes me pay for a game? But I feel like I'm not a good example because when I'm playing a good game, as a game developer, I think that throws things off for me. Where I feel like if I'm playing a game for a bit, I feel like I kind of owe them or something. Just like, oh, these guys, they did a good job here. I'm gonna. It's almost like a donation. But I feel like the average person doesn't think that way. You know, the average person that's a bit more just, you know, playing the game, and if you feel like you're getting something out of it, you'll pay for something. So I feel like I'm not the best at judging, you know, what's a good in-app purchase. There is that. I mean, there is, yeah, some games do just payment as donations and whatnot. I don't know if, like, I'm curious if there's a game that's been financially successful with that is the only thing. Who knows? Maybe it's possible, but I feel like leaning on that wouldn't necessarily be good. It also like I feel like it can skew your like your target audience too or something. Like one thing is kind of a different topic, but you know the standard free to play games where you know with the kind of gambling mechanics or like Clash of Clans. I wouldn't say Clash of Clans is like a sleazy game or anything like that, but it definitely has like the free to play mechanics. And it's interesting. Maybe I've told this story before, but um, I met someone who's like real, you know, big big guy in the tech industry. Not a big guy, but like you know, had a good job and all that. And he was telling me he's paid like $10,000 or $15,000 on Clash of Clans like in-app purchases, and I was just like, what? So he was, you know, it's kind of a derogatory term, I guess, but like a whale, I guess you'd consider. That's what you know the game devs call people that pay like tons of money, and it winds up that group is like a huge percentage of their income. You know, so it's just like this tiny fraction of people that pay, that basically are just super into the game, whether healthy or not. In his case, it sounded like he was. He was basically, you know, he had disposable income and he enjoyed the game, and so he enjoyed like spending money on it. It's like, you know, people have car collections or whatever, where they probably spend crazy amounts of money on things, but if they're able to support that, like, hey, you know, live your life. But anyway, those games, it sounds like, you know, they very much cater towards like that small sliver of people that are paying crazy amounts of money. He was telling me about how like, you know, the devs would reach out to him and, you know, ask him if there's things he'd like, or, you know, it's very much like, it's almost like the game was, you know, built around that small fraction of people, which to me seems a little bit weird. It almost seems like, you know, I'd rather have the game be targeting everybody, you know. So it's like if you can get everyone to pay a little bit versus getting a tiny amount of people to pay a lot, like to me that seems more beneficial or more, I don't know, more fair or something. 30 is very fair. Well, that was my plan. It's up in the air, but like I said, I'm planning on, even in the free to play version, having just like a gold pass or something like that, where like you pay for it and that'll give you like unlock everything until the end of time for your account. And so yeah, I was thinking like 30 for that, where that would be like, so that would be basically the max anyone would ever pay, which would also incentivize me to not have sleazy mechanics, which try to get more than 30 out of somebody. Because if I did, then people can just like pull the 30 parachute and then like boom, they're not paying for anything ever again. So I feel like that incentivizes me as a developer to try to like put stuff in there where it encourages people to like pay a little bit as they go, but then to never like hit them with a crazy, you know, sleazy thing that's going to try to get $100 out of them or something. Because then, you know, you can't go over the 30 because that is, you know, gives you everything, if that makes sense. So yeah, this is basically my plan. I've been banging around in my head is just this like premium / subscription / you know, like if it's on Apple Arcade or one of those subscription things, you would just have everything for free. Because that's one of the rules there is like you're not allowed to have in-app purchases. And so that like or there could be a prepaid version of the game if on some platform I just didn't want to worry about in-app purchases. It could just be like a $30 paid upfront game or something like that. But in most cases, I kind of feel like having the free option is nice. But anyway, so it would all be designed like the economy would all work in that like gold or prepaid or subscription version where there's no in-app purchases. But then the in-app purchases version is still just kind of like I said, it's just like a pay-as-you-go version of that. So that's how I'm trying to kind of think about it overall. So, yay. And I find, like, for me, I feel like that kind of helps me avoid the fuzzy line thing, where it's just like I said, if anything feels too sleazy or something, there's always the fallback where it's just like, go get the premium version, and then like you're avoiding the sleazy stuff. And so then that incentivizes me to not, like, it's a weird thing thinking about it, where like theoretically I would want somebody to just like pay as they go forever. You know, I'd love for people to play the game for 20 years, and you know, if they chip in $1 per year, or $2 per year or something like that, you know, then I come out ahead versus if they were to buy the 30 in-app purchase. So it's like theoretically I want to just, you know, it's like how renting is, you know, if you rent something, theoretically you people probably want you to rent it instead of pay for it if you're renting it for long enough. Not that I'm, you know, thinking about that or trying to get people to like wring every last dollar out of people, but just in terms of like what it incentivizes me to do, it's like I theoretically wouldn't want people to do the 30, but I want to give them that option. So anyway, I should, it's a very interesting topic, but I shouldn't keep talking about monetization all day. There's much more interesting parts of gameplay or games than that part. That's just the slightly important because you got to pay the bills part. But yeah, I feel like, I don't know, to me that seems like a good option is to have some sort of just like buy everything, or, you know, get all the unlocks that will ever be unlockable with this game forever option. Because it to me, you know, games like Minecraft, which have been like crazy ultra successful, I mean, you know, there are still premium games out there where they just charge you a bit upfront, and you know, that still works for some games. I feel like you know, that's becoming less and less in the mobile space in some spaces. I mean, obviously console games are still that way. And from my perspective, I feel like there's really big upsides to like the free model, just basically like the being able to get an audience. You know, like I'm very fortunate that, you know, Bomb Squad gets consistent downloads on Google Play, and it has for years, and hopefully will continue to. But I feel like I don't know if that would happen if it were paid. I feel like it might have had a spike and maybe it would like fall off the map Like I don't know if it would have the momentum to like keep up if there were that like friction to getting the game. And so whatever has caused it to like be consistent over the years, like I'm very happy with that. But I have a hunch that being free is maybe part of that. So yeah, I definitely want to try to work within like the free to play ecosystem. And yeah, to reiterate, I would love to make some of this stuff official. Maybe Scene V2 or something when there's like revisiting, low level stuff. I'd love to get some of those improvements in there, or just like clean things up a bit, and hopefully be able to iterate on that somewhat speedily. Like maybe that even could be like a season thing, just like the spaz mechanics like change slightly. Season 2 is squads mode. Season 2 is like slightly different spaz mechanics, and then season 3 we could maybe experiment on some slightly different ones or something, like kind of evolve it a bit over time. That could be cool. Well, see, I love that. Like, that's my favorite thing about working on this is just like emergent gameplay. We've talked about this before, but just like trying to make things kind of, like soft and squishy and physicsy, and just like letting the gameplay come out. But now it would be good to kind of like embrace some of the fixes people have put in there, because as gameplay emerges too, so does like exploits or like OP stuff and things like that. And it seems like the community has done a good job of reining some of that in. So it would be great to kind of reabsorb some of that back into the mothership or whatever. And plus, like playing with new physics, that is still fundamentally my my passion, or the thing I want to get to is just like playing with more physics. Coming up with different, slightly different play styles or things like that. Maybe a different like character that's not spaz or something that behaves like completely differently. Like there's so many fun ideas there. So I want to get to that point. And I mentioned it before too, is like I kind of designed the physics and all that around like a casual player mindset, or just playing with friends or family or whatever, people that had never played before. And so it wasn't really calibrated for like pro players and people getting really good at it. So it's really interesting to see like those mechanics come out. New soundtrack when? That would be I was thinking that could be a fun little like unlockable thing or something for maybe squads mode, the economy. Like you can unlock some skins and maybe unlock some new songs you could use for your soundtrack or something if you don't want to use well, I just mean like new options, like maybe new classical music or something like that. I don't want to like change the soundtrack around. I disagree. Yes, we should hire one of those like Hollywood orchestras, and see, then need to make a little more money to do that, but that would be super cool. Hire like Hans Zimmer to score Bomb Squad 2. I kind of miss making maps. I haven't in a while. Need to get back to doing that. That is again, that's kind of part of the reasoning with asset packages in 1.8 is it'll let me make some new maps again. Though I need to like refine my process. I mean, part of that is the asset package stuff. Like that's gonna, by necessity, I'm gonna have to refine my process there. So we'll have to see like what is. I want to get from input from you guys. Like what would make it easiest to be able to make maps. If we did like direct Blender support in the pipeline or something like that, where like you upload your Blender scenes or whatever they're called, and specify like which meshes should be made into meshes in the game or something, or exporting OBJs, or like what. It'd be interesting to see like what pipelines would work well for people. Bye, Davi. All right, well, it's getting late-ish. Should we try some EON? I've been rambling for a while. So, Mr. Sock, do you want to do an explanation or anything? I am going to try to get the game running now. I didn't. Apologies. I didn't do my homework and get this going beforehand. But yeah, if you want to do any explaining for a moment, just give me like a minute or two here. Data and server config. Okay, so this has all the full assets. Technically, servers can have like stripped down sets of assets, so I wasn't sure. Okay. Epically paste. There needs to be that, like under the edit menu, there needs to be like cut, copy, paste, epically paste. It does like lighting effects or something. All right, now let me remember what I did last time. Is this the one where I got overclocked? Yes, okay. So theoretically, duplicate this. It is damaged. That is so silly. I need to figure out how that copy protection scheme works. Actually, let me try one thing. Mac is silly sometimes. I love my Mac, but they can be silly. Okay, apparently code signature. There's some sort of receipt that gets stuck in here, I think. Diff have like recursive. I don't remember. Aha. Okay, so it's saying there's no differences. What if I do this? Wah. Although actually, this is a different version of the game that I need anyway, so I will download a fresh one. So Sock, what was it? 1732 or what? Which version of the game was it built on? 1733. Oh, look at you guys, all super up to date. Very cool. Yeah, no, that's awesome. That means there were some features I was thinking of maybe adding. Like one would be some sort of like built-in like game list filtering or something, or where you could specify like a category so that you would only see EON servers and EON servers would only see you. Just to keep it out of like regular people's lists, since if they join, it just crashes, you know. But in order for me to implement that, you'd have to be on the latest version, and you are, so that's super, super awesome. Ah. Alright, don't mind me as I fumble around awkwardly trying to get this working. Actually, I might as well label these correctly. Let's go with overclocked. That is still working. Okay. Launch this. Should work. Yes, I downloaded it from the internet. Contents, resources, data. All right. Moment of truth. Cool. There's no reason I shouldn't expect it to work, but it always feels like magical when I launch my own game and it's like a different game. It's super cool. Oh, I love this UI. This is so like different. Holy crap. Are these, did you add a new font in here, or is that like the large font, or did you make these actually like images? Oh, very cool. Yay. Yeah, looks good. Very good job with the full screeny type stuff. I feel like that's something I need to do better for squads mode and moving forward is kind of yeah, full screen type stuff instead of weird little windows. What's the EFRO button? Oh yeah, I forgot that. It's like there's a button just for me. Super cool. You've taken the janky UI system to new levels. So yeah, let's hop on. Let me clean up my mess here. I apologize in advance. I will probably be terrible just because I'll be half talking and half playing, as usual. You guys are used to playing with me. Oh, it's probably, oh yeah, this is another, it's probably pinging every server. So even though it's only showing the EON ones, it probably takes a while to update. So yeah, that would be super cool to get that filtering happening on the server side instead of the client side. Okay, so which one you said? Frankfurt A. Well, howdy. Should I be? Let's see. I already got one of those. That's a cool character. I'll be Blitzat. Alright, how many peeps we having? Is it going to be 3-on-3? Okay. Well, I might take 20 seconds and go top off my coffee. I'll be right back. See if we can get the dramatic zoom in. Ah. Some tasty coffee. Oh, we all here? Shoot, I'm holding up the game. Oh yeah! Newbie mistake. Oh, that's so cool. Honestly, the feeling of like playing a completely different game is like kind of profound. So cool. Again, don't mind me being completely useless. I'm just like looking at the graphics and see, now this is like making me super inspired to like hurry up on the squad stuff or like the league stuff, or you know, I'd love to have like, you know, tournaments and all that with this. You know, that'd be super cool. Please do. I mean, that's what they're for. I want them to be abused. I showed you guys, I put like the, speaking of going back to purchases, I put like the slight in-app purchase stuff in there for asset packages, so if you do abuse them too much and it's like costing me money, it'll just like, you'll just have to pay some in-app currency. So I'm not too worried about abuse. I can like pass the cost along, so like we can use them as much as they're useful. So I'm definitely looking forward to them. Random question, are you guys using any like the hold position stuff in there? There was like the controls used to have like this hold position thing. I was thinking of maybe like taking that out soon, but if you guys are using that in here, maybe I shouldn't. But maybe you aren't. I'm just saying like when I hold down the fire button, I can like aim, but I'm not moving. I'm just wondering if that's like the hold position stuff. Something else? Okay. Alright, that's good to hear. Aha! He is. So mean. One question, if you leave the game and come back in, does it handle that, or how does that work? I was thinking of like busting out my controller, be better than the keyboard. Good job, Red Rock. Oh, okay. Cool. Well, maybe I will grab my handy-dandy controller. Oh, whoops. Oh, okay. 1 moment. Haha! I've matched my entire kill count from last game, I think. Yeah, I feel like with all these games, there's, you know, that learning curve at the beginning, just playing a few times and starting to see what characters do what and all that. Ah! It's okay. No. Oof. Oh no, so close. Oh, our moment of triumph was ruined. Yay! No, it's super cool. I feel like, you know, it still is going to take a bit of like learning curve, or, you know, like learning the characters or whatnot, but it's starting to like click a little bit in terms of what strategies might be good. And should we switch things up somehow? Not that it matters what team I'm on, but, you know. Oh, I thought we were waiting for someone. Sorry. Throw smash. Oh, throw dead. Yeah, I'm getting that. It seems like fun. Oops. Run away! Too late! Ah. Almost got that 10 efficiency.
Kill sock. What are the stars? Is that like stun or something? Okay, cool.
Oh gosh. Oh, run away! That's not good. Whee! Good game, everyone. Alright, looks like we're at the 2-hour mark, so I should probably call it for now. I'll head back to Discord to chat for a minute. So cool. I love seeing all the UI and everything. Alright, let's pop out. Well, holy crap, guys, that's awesome. So, yeah, like I said, it's crazy, you know, opening up a bomb squad and being in, like, you know, it's like familiar but completely different. And also, like, it's really fascinating, like, the gameplay too. I mean, being more I don't want to say slow paced, but the fact that, you know, it's more about like grinding your opponent's hit points down and things like that. You know, it's less about like just instant kills. If you one nice upside, it feels more like lag friendly, at least to me anyway. You know, because it's a bit more RPG paced and less you know, like twitchy action. You know, you're not running off cliffs and things like that. So that makes me happy. Like, yeah, it was totally very playable. So that's good. From across the ocean, I mean. So, yeah, super cool. Like I said, I feel like with all those type games, Paladins or this, you know, at first there's kind of like the learning the ropes sort of things. Like you got to play enough to see like what characters do what. It makes me wonder like if there's ways to kind of hint at that more. In terms of, I feel like you do, you know, there's some characters that look big and beefy and tank-like, and some that look like small and assassin-like and things like that. So I feel like that works well, as long as those characters line up with their you know, their visuals. I'd have to like, you know, like look through and see if my expectations for them line up with what they actually are doing, or I'm trying to think like, you know, just ways you can hint at like, you know, when some beefy like character hits you with some really powerful punch or something, just to, I don't know, make it very clear that like, oh crap, I need to avoid that character or something. You know, like I don't know. I'm trying to think if there's like extra flashes or show hit points or something where it would be just to make it come across very clearly like, oh crap, I need to avoid that particular punch or that character or whatever. All this stuff is like I feel like it's stuff that, like I said, you kind of will learn over time playing the game. I'm just wondering like that's some of the thoughts as like a newbie is just like what would help me learn like who is doing all that damage to me or like who on the battlefield do I need to avoid, stuff like that. There's a little bit of like figuring out what team is what, or because like the characters I feel like they're less colored, but it's like you kind of learn to. I was looking at like names by the end of it. Like there's the the rings under them that have the team colors, but I feel like in the middle that kind of gets like lost a little bit once things get kind of intense. But yeah, the team name, looking at names works. Yeah, and I feel like telegraphing damage, that I feel like that's kind of a thing with all these type games. There's so much stuff going on. Like sometimes you just have to kind of learn what's doing what. It's like you can't really communicate like 10 different things at once. I guess it's just like that balance of trying to figure out like what to show. That was always it was kind of I shouldn't call it a complaint, but like when I played Warcraft 3 like mini games and stuff, there were like the early like Dota stuff that was spun off based on that, and or I guess maybe this is talking more about like the non Dota stuff, like the vanilla Warcraft 3, because it was like a full on RTS game with like armies, but then there'd also be heroes, and so like I felt like that would just get confusing to me with like so many auras and so many characters and so many just regular units doing different auras. Like at some point it just started looking like this flashy, like I'm overwhelming sparkles stuff like that. So it seems like a tricky thing to fight is like how to keep it clear like what's happening and what this aura is and who just damaged me and all that. But obviously you want to telegraph some of that stuff, so yeah, it's tricky just to find that balance there. But like I said, I think that's something that works itself out over time. For once you play enough, you kind of get a sense of all that. It's more just a concern for like how can you make it as easy to understand for new players as possible. I remember or going back to StarCraft 2, when StarCraft 2 came out, I feel like they did a good job of this is sort of related, but like when you'd upgrade units, like the units would look a little bit different. So it was a little bit like it made it easy to see like on the screen. Like when you upgraded your Marines, you gave them like there's some like armor upgrade or something, they would get like a shield. So it's like, oh, these are upgraded Marines I'm fighting. Or you upgrade Zerglings, they would grow like extra spikes. So little things like that. Not that I'm suggesting doing something like that, like changing character appearances based on anything, but it was just like that struck me as like they did a good job of telegraphing, like, oh, this guy's upgraded, maybe I should avoid fighting him, stuff like that. Yeah, that's a good question with like new characters. There is the danger of like overwhelming people, too, if it seems like you want to give people like a small amount to digest to like get into the game. So it's like you don't want to like expand the character roster forever, or maybe just I guess some of those games, don't they just on the free to play type aspect is like there's a certain set of them that are like in rotation at any time, right? Or things like that. I guess that could keep like the pool small for new players. Oh yeah, practice mode would be good too. But in general, this is like it's super inspiring for me. This makes me want to like get back to work and get the asset package stuff going and get the league stuff going, so you guys can wire all that in and make, yeah, just like anything I can do to like help here. Like that's awesome. Um, Android build, yes. Okay, so this maybe I can schedule those in like right after 1.8 or something. I feel like I'm really bad at getting excited about something and then like, yeah, I'm gonna do this, and then 2 weeks later I've done the thing, but then it's like the thing I'm supposed to be working on is 2 weeks late now. So it's like I feel like I need to force myself to get 1.8 out the door. But then yeah, maybe getting cleaning up Android and getting that accessible in the public repo. Maybe that would be a good next step right after that. Yeah, if but yeah, I guess you do need Android for that. So I was gonna say there's like if there's stuff you wanted to add in the engine, I could kind of instruct you how to do that in a backwards compatible way, because we will be getting basically a new protocol. Like there's the new stuff which will be like scene versions and all that, which will be very versioned and cool, and that's the future. But the existing stuff, there's like what's called protocols, where it's basically you increment the protocol the game is using, which then means older games can't connect to it, but then you can add more features. And I'm going to have to increment the protocol for 1.8 in order to support asset packages, because that's going to be like fundamentally a slightly different thing. So I was saying, like, if there's another few features we wanted to try to slip in there at the same time, since the protocol has to increment anyway, I could try to work with you folks, or if there's something you want to tinker at, I could try to guide you how to do that. I mean, if that's something you want to do, like, to get that in the actual engine, then I can just release, updated Android builds and things like that. So you could just build it on top of the vanilla one, but then you'd have your new features. So that, I don't know if that would be an option. Like, I'd be happy to work with you guys there. Getting third-party C++ libraries. We could certainly do custom spaz styles. Like if you want to, because that is mostly harmless. Like I have styles for things like pixie wings and stuff like that. So if you want to get your hands dirty and add new styles, because stuff like that wouldn't be used by other like vanilla game anyway. So like we don't even need a new protocol for that stuff. It's basically if someone tries to set a style in a server and someone's running an old game, they'll just crash. The same as if you use like a texture that's not available in the old game. But that's okay because you're a total conversion mod, so like you're in control of what version of the game people are using anyway. So there's some stuff that, yeah, if you want to change the engine, I mean, again, it would have to be like a slightly slow process where you change the engine, I push out new builds, and then you can grab those builds. And then I'll try to get Android wired up to the public repo, like I said, maybe right after 1.8, if that works for you folks. Something like third-party C++ libraries, like something more drastic like that might have to be, like that probably would require the public GitHub repo, just because unless it's something that I wanted to add everywhere for vanilla, I'd probably want that to just be like you guys only. Well, you guys are running the latest version of the game, right? Or the latest version of the engine, or basically 1732. So I mean, like if you want to experiment with some style, just like on the Ballistica repo, get a style working, then I can push out new builds with that style, and then you guys have that. You wouldn't really necessarily have to port the game, right? Or I mean, because like the public test builds are basically the same as the builds you're working with right now, right? If you see what I'm saying. So it's not like porting from Bomb Squad to Ballistica. Ballistica is Bomb Squad. I mean, right now there's really literally no differences aside from the app name. Unless you're talking about like porting your like build, like however you're kind of constructing the game, like changing how that works. Well, if it's something, I mean, like, could you just prototype a new style, like on Windows or Linux, or something that you can compile for right now? Because if you can, or is it something where like you need it on Android and everything for a full set of testing? Because like if you could prototype it on one of the platforms that does work, then I could pull that in and distribute that everywhere and give you Android test builds or whatever. Yeah, I mean, we would just have to coordinate so you get the new styles in there, test on Windows or whatnot, and confirm you're happy with the new style, and then I'd push out the full builds, and then you could pull those in for your next update. Oh yeah, yeah, stuff like that. I mean, yeah, adopting the full Ballistica repo, that should be more more easy there. So I guess it's a good goal to migrate towards. Well, for now, I will try to slot in getting official Android support early in 1.8. So hopefully that won't be too much more time making you wait. But in the meantime, basically, I'm happy to do, like we said, if you want to add features on Windows, I can pull those in and distribute updates everywhere. All right. Well, anyway, yeah, that was super awesome. Is this like what version do you guys have, like a version are you at? Is this like pre-release, or are you at 1.0, or like what do you consider EON to be? Alpha 1.0? Oh, okay. Cool, cool. Um, but like I said, it's super inspiring for me. Like it makes me want to like there's part of me that wants, like, kind of misses writing gameplay and like writing mini games and making maps. And I do want to get back to that, but like there's this other part of me that's just like I love supporting you folks and getting stuff in there to make it easier for you folks to make cool stuff. So like that part of me is really excited right now. It's like, oh, I want to get these asset builds done and all this. Because it would be really cool if you can spin up a server and like anyone running Bomb Squad can just like jump in your server and download the stuff and play EON. Like I feel like that could be a game changer, no pun intended. Yeah, that should be possible too. I mean, like I've got the UI stuff pretty abstracted. I mean, if you wanted to like completely make your own UI system, there's a feature set which is UI v1, which is all the crappy, you know, function names with a million arguments right now for building UI. But if you wanted to completely make your own, even on the low level stuff, you could, or just a UI library like BAUI lib v1 or whatever it's called, like the library of UI stuff. You could replace that with your own. So cool. Well, anyway, we are a bit over. I guess we started late, so it's not that big of a deal. But yeah, so I should get to work on all this stuff. Well, my inspiration is tingling, so I need to like harness that, type real fast. Yeah, I mean, it was, I'm sure this has got some runway in it for not getting stale, but I mean, it's the same thing for me with the regular game. It's just like, people want new maps and things. It's kind of stale at this point. So yeah, hopefully asset packages will help. So we'll get back to working on that now. Anyway, thanks for sharing. That was super awesome. And yeah, looking forward to checking it out, for the next version. And yeah, everyone else, thanks for joining. I will get back to work now. Time to code some asset packages. Oh, sure, yeah. All right, go for it. Well, thank you for allowing me to play. I know I was doing pretty terrible, but it was fun. Started to get a little bit. I love my little assassin dude running around slicing stuff up. That was very. It started to like have that feel of like, oh yeah, this is like my niche, however you say that. Like I'm little assassin dude. I'm gonna go do my little assassin things and sneak around in the shadows and stuff. So started to get that like sense of identity, Yeah. With my little that cool slicing noises. Ooh. Well, I enjoyed the other guys too. I need to play more and yeah, see who my true character is, and then maybe I'll get more than like one kill. But I was enjoying it even though I wasn't dominating. Oh, that reminds me. Do you guys have any like you had the effectiveness at the end? I feel like not to some games have the full like spreadsheet post game thing. I'm wondering if something like that would help, like just showing like damage and just like basic stats for people can start to see like, oh, this guy did a ton of damage. You know, I feel like that could help with like the learning curve in terms of learning which characters are. Oh, this guy healed this many points. This guy did the most damage on the team. This guy, whatever, got the most kills. You know, stuff like that. I know I don't like provide any infrastructure for doing that in the normal game really, but hopefully it would be possible to hack in there somehow. That's something I want to like revise for Scene V2 or something, is get a more like generalized system for stats so people could, you know, plug stuff in there more easily. Just, you know, which character walked the farthest or, you know, whatever stuff they want to like keep track of. It'd be cool to make it easy for people to just kind of like lay that out post game for people to look at. Woohoo! Cool. So yeah, I'm sure people have done, yeah. So if JRMP, maybe you could, yeah, recycle that, or you know, there's probably other stuff out there people have done or whatnot. Like I said, the one that's in there right now for Classic is, you know, janky and simple, and I think it just tracks like what kills and deaths and stuff. But yeah, it'd be cool to, we could build a nice modern type safe, easy to use one for future stuff at some point. So another thing on the to-do list. All right. Anyway, cool. Mystic getting an epic rework. The sacred to-do list. Yes. The to-do list, it's not even a real thing anymore. It's just more of a state of mind. Like, add it to the to-do list. It's a section of neurons in my brain, which keeps growing. Well, yeah, not to go off on tangents again. I feel like I have mini to-do lists. Like I've learned I can't, like a one single to-do list, it just grows. It's like cancer. It just like gets out of control and kills the host. But like mini to-do lists, I feel like I can do that. Like, what am I doing? Yeah, this is my current legacy master server migration. This is the stuff I'm in the middle of. So see, I have a little like mini to-do list here, and I'm working my way through it. So I feel like that's, for me at least, like this type of stuff is effective, but like single giant master to-do lists, I feel like that just becomes demoralizing. Because yeah, exactly. You add more I would add more to it every day, and at some point, you know, I'm adding more than I'm taking off, and it just becomes like sad. All right. Well, anyway, better get going, get to work. So, all right, it's been fun, everyone. So thanks for sharing, and yeah, thanks for letting me play, and looking forward to the next time. And yeah, everyone have an awesome rest of your week. So see ya.